Hello, today we'll be learning how to use Arma Reforger's ACE medical mods. First, we'll go over a procedure, then we'll show you, and I'll show you an example of it. First we'll go over our vocab, or our vocab. Right, morphine. Morphine stops a person's pain by slowing down the heart rate. What does pain look like? You can use that talking to your patient. It'll be a white flashing on a guy's screen. Next one's epinephrine. Epinephrine will raise a person's heart rate. Right, next one's phenylephrine. Phenylephrine makes a person pump more blood. So they lost a lot of blood. You give them phenylephrine, they'll start pumping more of it. Right, Naxiolin, or formerly known as Narcan, to administer to patients who have overdosed. Next one's anisocarbonate, aka smelling salt. Smelling salt to wake a patient up who has passed out. Next one's a metoprolol, or like to call it a lethal injection, because it works way too well. It slows down a person's heart rate, which is good in theory. If someone's sitting at like 170, you think that's not normal, you're gonna get it down. Don't. It'll get him down way too much. Next 20 seconds, he'll be dead. Next one, CCP, casualty collection point or casualty care point. There's two types of CCPs. Hasty, which is basically a guy went down and you dragged him away. It's wherever you stopped and working on him. That's your hasty CCP. And the next one's pre-prepared. Pre-prepared CCPs are usually set up before mission. It's usually predetermined by squad lead, the medic, someone. Next one is saline. Saline is a salt water solution that it refill the person's blood. They've lost a lot of blood. You give them saline to kind of replenish it. But it also, because it's not blood, it's a salt water solution, it'll thin the blood out, so it'll make them bleed faster. So don't give it unless you've stopped the bleeding. Next one's the X. The X is simply where a casualty has gone down. Next we have guidelines. I just say guidelines because there's not that many rules, because everything is subject changed in the situation. All right, first one, this is actually, I'd say, one of our only rules. Morphine should not be used unless the guy is standing up. If he's down and unconscious, do not give him morphine. The next one is medical teams. Medical teams should be in the duo. One, the medic that's providing care to a guy that's down, and the other one that's pulling security for a medic. Next one is smelling salts. Smelling salts, so you give them to a patient which is level 1 class hemorrhage or higher, or level 1 class hemorrhage or lower. I gotta change that. Hemorrhaging is basically the guy's been shot and he's bleeding. That's hemorrhaging. Now, the way it's determined by the class is how bad it is. If they're bleeding everywhere, or they've been shot in every limb, and they're losing blood really fast, that's probably a class 4. If they've recently been shot, but they're no longer bleeding, it's probably a 1. And then you can kind of see how it's in between, goes up and down based on how bad it is. And then once the patient's stable, what I mean by that is once their heart rate is stable. And typically a stable heart rate is between 60 and 70, but in the game, I'd say it's 70 above. It could be 200, which they'd be in a heart attack. But the game is not very good at modeling that, fortunately. So that's good. That's great. That'd be great if a guy was at 200. Good smelling salts, and he'll be right up. Next one's communication. Communication vital for a medic for success. You should be communicating with your team, with your assistant, and with the patient. First of all, with the team. See how everyone's doing. It's your job as the medic to keep your team up and fighting. Second, the medic should be communicating with the patient, asking about his vision. Vision can tell us how much blood he has left in him and how much he's lost. There's 3 things I ask about the vision. Can you see color? Is it dull or is it gray? If he can see color, that means he has very little to no blood loss. If it's dull, he's got a medium amount of blood loss. If it's gray, he's lost a lot of blood, and he could die any second if nothing is done. Next, third final is communication with your assistant. There's things security around. If you need help, maybe you need to stop the blood, but you also need CPR. So your assistant could do CPR while you give medications. That's it for guidelines. Next, we will be moving on to process of care. All right, now we're moving on to process of care. We're treating the patient. All right, first thing before we even start treating a patient, we have to ask ourselves 2 things. Is the scene safe? What I mean by that is, are you going to die treating the guy? If he went down in the middle of open field with a machine gun, probably not safe, and we're not going to go get him. Next, is it worth the risk? If you run out of that field to get him, are you going to be shot? Is it worth taking your gun out of the fight to get this guy? Right. Now that we've addressed, you've done this seems safe, And is it worth it? And it's worth the risk to get the guy. So, first thing we always do is stop the bleeding. Stopping the bleeding can be done with bandages and tourniquets. There's pros and cons to both. A bandage doesn't fully stop the bleeding, but also takes longer. It takes 6 seconds to apply. A tourniquet only takes 3 seconds, but it only slows down the bleeding. And really, they both depend on the situation. A tourniquet can buy you more time. Like I said, if the guy goes down the middle of the field, you don't want to spend 12 seconds in that field bandaging him. And maybe you got shot in both of his legs, and you have to take 12 seconds to bandage his legs. You'd rather take 6 seconds to put a tourniquet on both of them, pick them up, and run back within those 12 seconds. So, that's it. But I think it really depends on the scene. Say, if it has to be done quick, tourniquet. If you have some time on your hands, bandage. Alright, next, you stop the bleeding. You have to I'd check the rest of the body for injuries. So, even though you saw him get shot in the legs, you see that his legs are fully red, just check the rest of the body. Maybe here's somewhere he got shot that you haven't seen. So, next, what do you have to do? You fill him back up with blood. And this can be done with saline and phenylephrine. But I like to stress something real quick. If you run up on a guy and he's yelling at you that his vision is going gray, do not give him saline. That might sound counterintuitive, and that should not be the first thing you do. It's like filling up the cup. You cannot fill a cup up when it has a hole in it. So why would you give a saline when he's still bleeding? That's why you always stop the bleeding first. But remember, saline is not blood, it's a saltwater solution, so you will bleed faster. Or they'll thin the blood, and you'll bleed faster. Phenylephrine makes the heart pump more, it makes it produce more blood. So next, you have to apply epinephrine and do CPR. Epinephrine jumpstarts the heart. 1 epinephrine will get the heart going, 2 will jumpstart it. Now this is where you have to be careful. I'll address it more, or when we talk about overdoses. But just know, epinephrine, CPR. Next, smelling salts. You give a guy smelling salts once he's class 1 hemorrhage and below, and I'd say his heart rate is 70 and above. Alright, we'll move on. Okay, now we're going to go over overdoses. We're going over the science of an overdose. First of all, they have no heart rate. Overdose will cause them to have no heart rate. That almost can mean they'll have no heart rate if they got shot too. So sign is maybe you just randomly went down. Let's say you're treating a guy, you loaded him up with medication, he got back up, and then 20 seconds later, he fell back over. He didn't get shot again, he just randomly fell back over. That's probably a good sign that they OD'd. So, how do you fix an overdose? It's simple. It's the simplest thing in the world. Narcan and smelling salts. That's it. You don't have to give them CPR. You don't got to do anything. Just Narcan and smelling salts. Give them a couple seconds, and I bet they'll pop right back up. If they don't, might be something a little bit more than just an overdose. I think this will also be a good time to go over the rule of 3. 3 morphine will OD a guy. 3 metoprolol will OD a guy. I think that unfortunately, and they'll go down within 30 seconds of those 3. So typically when I'm treating a guy, I don't like to give him 2 or I prefer to only give him 2 medications. Phenylephrine and 1 shot of epinephrine. Just 1 shot of each, and that will be that guy's medication. Maybe if he been down for a while now, a couple minutes, then I'll give him a couple more shots of epinephrine. Not too many, maybe one more shot of epinephrine. Alright, next let's go over process of care. Process of care is just what you're going to manage, what you're going to try to get first. Alright, you bleed the fastest from your stomach and your chest. So when you rock on a guy, look at his stomach and his chest with your bandage first to see if you can bandage it. If not, then check the limbs, then the hand. But like the guidelines, there's no set rules. If you rock up on a guy and his arm's completely red, you don't need to look at his stomach or his chest. You know he's bleeding from his arm. Just go ahead and bandage the arm. And that's just process of care. Right? Legally dead versus medically dead. Legally dead means the brain's not functioning. So you gotta tell this in a guy that this is when he's fully dead. He's going to the respawn menu. He won't be speaking to you. His body has probably died in some weird way that's not normal on its back. Like if you just went unconscious and you probably saw his death messages on the top right of the screen. Medically dead is just his heart's not beating. So you can fix a guy that is medically dead. You can bring back to life. Alright, before we begin, let me explain the scene. We'd shorted BTR, and he did its final explosion. That's why I've got this white screen around me. That's why I'm in pain, because BTR just exploded to my right. And the guy, I'm not sure if he went down because of that explosion because he got shot, but I deem the scene safe enough because you can't see it. There's a destroyed BTR off to my right giving us cover. And then you hear some shooting. That is the rest of my team suppressing the enemy location. So, that is how I've deemed the scene safe enough to go treat this guy.
Wise down.
Alright, as you can see, as I run up on this guy, Proslip gear goes out the window. Look at his legs, they're completely red. I don't need to check his stomach, his chest, let me see his arms. No, I can see that his legs are bleeding. You can see I put out a tourniquet. The tourniquet's gonna buy me time here. I'm gonna put this tourniquet on his legs to buy me time. The time is gonna buy me to communicate with the patient and stop and put bandages on. Also, if I need to move him really quickly to suddenly enemy fire picks up and I need to move this guy, great, I've got tourniquets on his legs, I can go move him.
Good. Yep, you're good.
Black,
You're good.
going black. Boy, going black again.
Okay, I just like to explain something really. You can see me switching between my hotbar. I always have medical stuff in your hotbar. Always have the most important stuff. Usually how I run is slot 5 is my my smoke grenades. Slot 6 is my bandage. Slot 7 is my epinephrine. Slot 8 is my morphine. Slot 9 is my saline. In slot 0 is where I keep my tourniquets. So, I keep that standard. It doesn't have to be exactly like me, but just keep something you always run every game, every match, every op. Always do the same muscle memory where everything is.
James, once you get blooded and move behind this rock, and we're
Alright, as you just saw, you saw my buddy right next to me, covering me while I treat this guy. That's a good example of a medical team. Out of the rest of my team, there's also, I don't know why it sounds not working, but there's suppressive fire going on. But this guy, giving me cover, buddy.
gonna leave you here.
Deep
I'll leave him
heartbeat.
with you.
Let's get a wide 360
I'm still
going.
good.
Come on.
Yep.
Go
I'm
for
watching
it.
the left.
Injecting
Watching
morphine.
down towards the parked vehicles.
Am I so fucked? I'm still bleeding. Oh. You still bandaging the leg.
Alright, this is where our steps come in. Obviously, I stopped the bleeding. His legs are red. We stopped the bleeding in his legs. This is where step 2, we just check the rest of his body for bleeds because on. You can see, I'm just kind of looking around, see if there's anywhere else I can bandage. If not, I'll move on to step 3.
I'm good. Is that a new medical system?
Alright, this is something I could also work on, but I think it's just also a good example. I'm now moving him off the X to a hasty CCP. You see, I probably could have moved him as soon as I stopped the bleeding in his legs and I checked him, but I just took a second to give him some saline. Now, we will see, I have a little indecisiveness because my plan was to take him into the trees, but squad leader wanted me to drop him behind those rocks, so that's what I'll do. And, it's not even it's just something off the X. It's not like a shack, but it's anywhere off the X. That's the ACCCP.
What?
Yep.
I mean, you had to bandage my legs several times.
James, if you need me, I can help you with the medical stuff. Copy.
Alright, there's something go over this real quick. Just something I'm doing cover is making sure you're gonna have to treat a guy. Don't treat a guy if you're bleeding. Stop your own bleed first. Like this, now it's safe enough for me to stop working on the guy and take a second to give myself some morphine. But make sure you're good enough to treat a guy before you treat yourself first.
I'm up here on this ledge.
Alright, 2 push over to the front gate over there. The rest move down this road. We'll flank
I'm on the
around.
front gate.
Front gate.
Okay.
Alright, something right here where I messed up. Just know these 3 things. Know where the carry feature is, know where the CPR feature, and know where the load into vehicle feature is. If you want to carry someone, that's going to be by their stomach. When you give CPR to someone, that's going to be by their chest. When you load someone in a car, that's going to be by their chest. just know what that is, have that locked into memory.
We're gonna implement that.
Roger, clear all structures as you come to.
Come up.
Alright, you can see there, I gave him epinephrine
Yeah.
First
and
time
CPR. Fortunately, he didn't even need, getting
guys
in
go to the
need
front gate.
swelling salts, so he was good to go. He just covered him his own. But then, right there, you saw, I gave him, morphine after the guy. I didn't give him morphine while I was down. I waited till he was back
So you can
up
have C4.
to give him morphine. So that's my final remarks.
Why is this?
Good luck.